I created SnapType for a little boy who had dysgraphia. When I was in school for occupational therapy, I was in a fieldwork and I met this little boy who had dysgraphia, which is like a handwriting difficulty. And so he had a really hard time writing on worksheets that his teachers would pass out to him. So I came up with an idea to be able to take a picture of a worksheet so then you could actually type on the screen instead of having to handwrite on the paper. SnapType is an assistive technology that helps people take a picture of a worksheet, and then you can just tap on the screen to add text instead of having to handwrite on the worksheet. And if you have a hard time with typing, you can even use your speech to text, which is really helpful for those kiddos that have difficulty actually using the keyboard. There's also a great feature that just came out that we put out, which is text to speech. So it's able to read the worksheet to you for those kiddos that maybe haven't learned to read yet or actually struggle like reading, like I also did when I was a child. Kids who have dysgraphia, dyslexia, even visual impairments, SnapType can really be helpful for a lot of kids across the board. It empowers kids to be more independent, be included in their classroom, and being able to do the things just like their other peers in class are doing. Maybe they're doing it a little bit differently, but they're able to do it right with those children in real time. We're really excited to be launching SnapType EDU because it's going to get out there in Chromebooks and it's going to be able to be more widely used within the school district. I think it's great because they're going to be very included in the classroom because everyone else is also using Chromebooks, so they don't have to feel like they're using something that other people aren't using. They're able to be completely included and not like left behind, if you will. So it's just great for them to be showing their independence and showing their knowledge by using SnapType. It took me a really long time to learn how to read. I remember even pretending that I knew how to read when I was in maybe first and second grade. We'd have to bring books home. It was just a really slow learning process for me to learn how to read. I didn't know I had ADHD growing up, and I remember working so hard to do something that was maybe so easy for someone like reading, or it took me 10 steps to do something that took someone to do 1 step. And I just remember working so hard to do everything and not understanding why it was so much harder for me than it was than the person sitting next to me in class. So my dad was very supportive. He would stay up super late with me every night trying to help me with math, with writing papers and everything that came with all the struggles with school with me. So I remember having lots of late nights with my dad. It became almost 2 or 3 a.m. and he needed to go to sleep as well. And he's like, Amber, just go to sleep. We will figure this out in the morning. And then sometimes I would wake up and he would honestly have helped me so much on a paper. Like looking back on it now, I feel like I wasn't able to do some of that work for myself, but at the same time, not saying I couldn't do it, but at that time, it didn't feel like I was able to do any of that. And I'm so thankful for my dad. I had my national board exam and I went into it, and it's a 4-hour test. And I remember going in and taking that test and sitting in that seat for 4 hours. And I don't even think I got through the whole entire test. And I was a few points shy. And I think it was because I missed a handful of questions because I wasn't able to finish the test in the allotted time. In that moment, I was thinking I need to go get some assistance to get some more time on the test because I know that I needed that more time. Not necessarily knowing I would come back with a diagnosis, but I did want to go get, kind of tested to see, hey, how can I get more time on this test? And it ended up coming back that said that I had ADHD, which in that moment was super helpful because it just made sense. And it was like, wow, I had no idea that my whole life has been what it is, but it makes sense now, which I got a whole 8 hours on this test and I still barely finished the test. But thankfully, the second time around, after all that extra time, I passed the test and I was an occupational therapist. Yeah, I think looking back on it now, now knowing that when I was 7 years old, I now know what it felt like to fail. And knowing that in school, just because you might be having challenges in school, it doesn't mean that you aren't smart. It doesn't mean that it doesn't define who you are. You can still make an impact on this world just because you're having struggles now doesn't mean that, your future is going to look like this. And I took my struggles as in school and I turned them into a superpower. And now I'm helping so many kids around the world not have to struggle like I did in school. So just to know that, like, just because this is the now and you're struggling, like, there's so many things that you can learn from that will help you in your future. I hope that they can see that their life doesn't have to be as challenging as maybe how it is, and they're probably just as creative as I am because they've had to think of other ways to learn. And I think that having ADHD has really helped me think differently and think more uniquely than just a typical person. Yeah, I think assistive technology is a great way to help kids stay included, stay in the moment with their peers that are around them to continue learning. Because I know that for me, I really wish if I had books that could read to me when I was in school, that would have really helped out my learning. And now these days, there's so many tools for people and children to learn the way that works for them in school these days, which I think is really important. The fact that this was created for one child and that it's just amazing to think that, like, it's not just helping one kid anymore. It's literally around the whole entire world in over 50 countries all over the world. The fact that we're helping that many kids is just amazing. And to know that as a kid, I struggled so much, like, I can be that person that's now helping all those kids who used to be in that same place I was in. And it's just amazing to know that there's just so many people out there that are getting help from this app, that maybe they can see what their potential really is and not have to feel that they're stupid. Because I know as a kid, I really felt that way. Like, why am I not getting this like other kids? And the fact that if I had something that could really show my knowledge, I probably wouldn't have had to feel that way.